My 24F husband, 32M, makes fun of me for having a higher sex drive than him. I don't know why he does it. I've learned to just pleasure myself because I know he gets annoyed if I start asking for sex more than once a day. So I take pleasure myself all day until I get to have sex with him at bedtime. Every time he walks in on me though, he makes snarky remarks about how I'm addicted or need some help. It's not even like that's all I do all day long. I usually just do it 2 to 3 times during the day along with cleaning, cooking, kid duties. It used to be so much easier when he wasn't working from home. I hate the way he makes me feel about it. He just acts like it's a big joke every time I bring it up too. Any ideas on how to make him stop? Edit. Thanks to all the non-judgy, actually here to give advice people. And to all the people who think 2 to 3 times a day is too much, I'm sorry you're not cool enough to feel like yourself multiple times a day. Smile. I have busy days and do everything I need to do as a stay-at-mom wife. I definitely not addicted and don't see why I can't take a 5-minute break a couple times a day. I mean, once a day is a lot more frequent than most couples. I get having a high sex drive, but are you unable to get through your day if you can't have your alone time? Because if that's the case, I'd be a little concerned. Reddit loves to call guys who need multiple orgasms a day sex/porn addicted, but never women. Agreed, 2 to 3 times a day sounds like it could be verging on addiction territory to me. I'm going to approach this the same way I would if it was a man masturbating 3 times a day every day. If that was accompanied by porn, I'm fairly certain it would be classified as a porn addiction. To know for sure. Honestly, I don't think there's anything wrong with what you're doing if it doesn't get in the way of your life. I can see why he'd maybe be concerned and is trying to avoid actually saying it out loud by making fun. I don't think that's okay for him to do, but see if you guys can talk about it. It's cliche, but communication is literally everything. But, isn't it already interfering with their lives if her and her husband are experiencing negative effects from it? That's something every comment down here seems to miss. It's fine as long as it doesn't get in the way. Is everyone kinda missing that it already does? Honestly, walking in on someone masturbating that often would grate on anyone. I'm not saying he's communicated this to you in the best way, but have you considered it makes him really uncomfortable? I'm really conflicted about this one. Some of the comments in this thread are toxic AF about women's sexuality and sex drive. However, saying she does it all day but then says she only does it 2 to 3 times a day is concerning. Without judgment, I urge you to speak to a counselor to see if you need to address underlying issues just to rule it out. At the very least, have a serious discussion with your husband that his belittling remarks are hurtful and needs to stop. If he won't stop, I would recommend couples counseling. I wish you good health. Edit. Thank you for the silver and flare. I think the comments would be different if this was a male masturbated 3 times a day. I'm not saying it's wrong, but I could see this verging into an addiction territory, unless you can go days without. A normal sex drive is one thing, but this could be leaning towards excessive if you have to. This blew up more than I thought overnight. Please no, I don't want everyone to just barrage up that she's addicted. Maybe just some self-reflection on it. But if her husband has an issue with it, the way he's going about it is childish and non-productive. I'd maybe talk to him and ask if he genuinely has a problem with it, because he might not want to say so, which is why he continues doing it. I've had to walk back behavior before, so I'm not trying to come out of the woodwork to say scum. Regardless, I hope you and your husband work it out. Not everyone's normal is your normal. She said she pleasures herself all day. Honestly, that does sound like it is verging toward addictive and unhealthy. Woke up to my husband not being home from work yet, looked up his location and found that he was at a female co-worker's house. Update, my 25 female husband 27 male works night shifts. The other day he told me he was going to stop before work to one of his co-worker's house for a plate of food as she was hosting Friendsgiving. He was running late, so went to grab a plate of food for his lunch time, which is at like 9 or 10 p.m. I asked him how the food was and then I fell asleep. Fast forward to sometimes after 7:30 am. I wake up and see he's not home. So I start getting worried. He lives 6 minutes away from his work, maybe almost 2 miles away. So he's always home within 10 minutes of getting off work. I searched up his location and he was at the co-worker's house that was hosting the Friendsgiving. I know it was her house because he had told me before that she's lucky she lives 1 minute from the job and that house was 1 minute from his job. My mind instantly went into WTF is he doing there at 7 am? So I texted him, why isn't he home? What was he doing? Why'd he go back to her house? 10 minutes passed and he didn't reply, so I called him and he sent me straight to voicemail. So I FaceTimed him and he picked up getting into his car. He said okay, I'm coming. I was still half asleep, so I just told him why he went there in the first place and why he didn't tell me. He just responded with sorry, I didn't think I'd be there long. So I hung up. When he got home I tried talking to him and told him I've said a bunch of times before that a heads up if you're going someplace would be nice. That way I don't think you're missing, dead, or doing something bad. I also said that since he's told me stories about how she tells him her sexual experiences, my mind went into that direction instantly. I've never felt any way with his work relationship with her that way, just thought she was an oversharer, but still because of that fact my mind instantly thought is something like that happening? So I asked to see what kind of messages he had with her for reassurance to calm my thoughts I was having. Because although I had never had trust issues like that, I really needed to calm my thoughts. I was looking to see if she asked him to go back to her house or if he told her she was going back to her house, but didn't see that. Only saw that at like 4 am she asked if he had tomorrow off and he asked tomorrow as in tomorrow or today, to which she replied today and he didn't reply back. He told me he didn't think they'd be there long, that he went to her house because she was texting one of his other co-workers to go to her house and that co-worker, the male co-worker she was texting, told him to come too, so that he was just going to go with them since they were all getting out at the same time. He got upset and said, wow, you really don't trust me, huh? And I had no reason to not trust him, but it's just weird to me. I told him that apart from being instantly worried if he was okay, I felt it weird that he had gone to another woman's house at 7 am. Like if I was her hosting a gathering the night before, I'd be sleeping the morning after at 7 am. I know people will stay up all night sometimes, but why didn't he mention it? To which he avoided talking to me all day and then he had to travel for work, and now that he's in a different town he texted me, are you done being upset? I was asleep, and now 5 hours after the text he texted again with I'll take that as a no. I'm not very sure how to go about this. Not sure how I feel. I feel confused. If he would have texted me, hey, I'm going with some of my co-workers back to XYZ's house, I think I just would have woken up and been like, oh okay, weird. It's so early, but I guess she's still having people over. But because he didn't tell me, it made me think bad. I'm not sure what I'm looking for posting on here. I guess, how would you react if you were in my shoes? Or how would you go about it now after a day of your partner avoiding talking to you? I feel like he didn't even really apologize. Is this something that doesn't need apologies? Am I the wrong one for questioning what he's doing, or is it natural to wonder or have those WTF thoughts? I feel anxious. Should I apologize for questioning what his real motives for going to her house at 7 am were? I'd what to do. Update. I told him I don't understand how countless times I've said I would appreciate a heads up text for things like this. How I don't understand how he could have forgotten to text me when he knows I'm an overthinker and analyze everything. It's bad, I know, but I can't help it. His response was, that's just because I find it ridiculous. You're insinuating that I went to XYZ's house for XYZ. I went earlier the night and met some cool people and went back after my shift to mingle. Am I sorry I didn't let you know? Sure. But I wasn't doing anything nefarious. I said I'm pretty sure anyone would be worried to see their partner isn't home at the usual time they are and be confused when they see he's at another person's house. And since it's someone of the opposite sex, anyone would be like, WTF. If he just would have texted me in the first place, hey, I'm going back with a few other co-workers to XYZ's house, I would have woken up, seen the text. Still think it's weird since I personally would have wanted to sleep if I were XYZ hosting the gathering, but understand everyone is different and she's used to being up late, but essentially been like, oh okay, that's why he's not home, and just asked how his time was when he got back home. But no, he didn't do that. After mentioned it again. I've mentioned a bunch of times to please let me know when he'll be home late / meeting a friend etc. He left me on read and it's been 5 hours since we've communicated again. So I still feel upset about this whole thing. Update: it's been 4 days since this happened. After 6 hours of not replying to my last message about how I didn't understand how he couldn't have just texted me to give me a heads up when I've told him I'd really appreciate that. He just texted "you're right and I'm sorry." I told him I needed a day to myself. It's been 2 days. He's texted me asking me to do things that need to be done at the house, since he's still out of town for work. I've just been replying to just answering him. I haven't brought it up because I wanted to talk about it in person. Now he texts me saying that he thinks he's getting sick, that it's be best if we aren't home when he gets home later. So I should go spend Thanksgiving with my parents. Wow, you really don't trust me, huh? Kind of hard to trust someone who's acting all sketchy. The caginess that he is displaying regarding what happened is, to me, suspicious. If he had nothing to hide, it would have been very easy to just say X reason with zero hesitation or pause. The biggest liar I ever had the misfortune of having in my life was always "you don't trust me. This is why I can't commit to you. Because you just don't trust me." Liars ask for trust. Honest people are just honest. Let that sink in. What you describe would also puzzle me, and I can understand that you feel worried and insecure. It might be the case that your husband's relationship with that coworker goes beyond what he is comfortable with sharing with you. Note that this does not necessarily mean that he has a sexual relationship with her, but him acting defensive, and portraying your reaction as unjustified, might suggest that there is something that he does not wish to discuss with you. I do not know that much about your marriage, but in general, what I would do in such a situation, is to explain to him how you feel and why, without assigning blame. There will still be time to do so if appropriate, and communicating what you wish him to do in a neutral way. For example, tell him how you feel about it, for example, puzzled, insecure, and tell him what he could do to make you feel better, for example, to try to acknowledge and understand your feelings. If he makes no efforts to understand your feelings, but frames this incident as you playing a destructive role, it might be the case that he indeed has a relationship with the co-worker. If so, trust that you will find help here, and know that this is not the end of your life. I hope this helps you. I never ever had reason to suspect my husband would ever betray me in the 22 years we've been together. Never had trust issues or ever doubted his faithfulness in the relationship. He used the "so you don't trust me" line when I questioned him and made me feel silly for asking. 9 months down the line I get the truth and he had betrayed me. I'm not saying your husband has done anything, but it does sound like it's a possibility. It's always sickening when you are absolutely convinced your partner would never be that cruel, and then to find out that they are. It's repugnant. I, 37M, have a biological child who I've never seen, 17F, wanting to make contact which I don't want but my family does. What should I do here? Thrower, TW, rape. Please read beyond the title as it's different to what you expect. When I was 19, I was raped by an older colleague, 34F, after a works night out and she got pregnant. It didn't go anywhere legally as it was my word against hers and she had the kid. Sadly, as there's no proof it wasn't consensual, I had to pay child maintenance until it was 16. Obviously, as it was a product of what happened to me, I wanted nothing to do with it. Told her to raise her rape baby herself. The woman died, not sorry about it, a couple of years back, and I've not heard anything about the kid since, so I had no idea what was going on other than my maintenance stopping. Which was a relief because I finally felt like a millstone had been lifted from around my neck. Because of what happened, I never have been in relationships because of the issues it's caused me, and I haven't got any kids or anything like that, so I feel like I can start living a bit brought down to earth a bit last month when my mum said the kid got in touch with her on social media and asked about me my family and told them she was living with her grandparents herself after her mum died until they both died themselves, so she's not got anyone now. Now my mum is one of these people with a massive soft spot for kids / young people, so feels sorry for her. I told her I don't feel comfortable with her being in touch with us and I want nothing to do with her, so keep her away from me. She seemed upset, but I thought she accepted it. I will say throughout it all since then, my parents have been an absolute rock. They were some of the only people to support me and I couldn't have done it without them. So I was talking to my mum at the weekend and she admitted to me that she's not only kept in touch with the kid, but she had met them the week before, and they didn't tell me. Basically they feel really bad for her because of the life she's had and are starting to enjoy her being in their life. Not only that, she's been asking about me and what happened and wants to meet me to talk and ask me questions. Obviously, I'm upset about it. I not only had a go for going against my wishes, but for betraying my trust like that. She said it's hard for her and my dad because of the way I've been, never had any kids or anything. They have always been sad that they'll never have a grandchild and this may be their only chance. She also told me she thinks I'm being out of order taking it out on an innocent child who didn't ask for this and could at least meet her to talk. I've said no and not spoken since, which is hard because I normally ring my folks twice a day and my mum keeps on trying to ring me. I don't know what to do. Reddit. I obviously don't want to be cruel, but that kid is a reminder of what happened to me and I am just angry she's coming back into my life now when I thought it could be over. And how could my parents do this to me when they know how I feel? As it stands, I have no desire to meet her, and don't see the good that could come from it. But I don't want to lose my parents either. What should I do? Edit. So I spoke to my mum today. She's still insistent on having a relationship with her. I said she can, but tell her I do not want to meet her at all and won't do at all. Would you believe my folks are actually intending on her coming over and having Christmas dinner with us? I basically said if they do that, I'm not going. Important edit. I get people disagreeing with my parents' actions, but do not be disrespectful of them or call them names please. Despite this, they're wonderful people and we're the only people who have ever had my back throughout. Thank you. TLDR, child born of my rape wants to make contact but I don't, and my parents have been in contact despite my wishes and are forging a relationship with her and she wants to talk to me and I don't want it, which is causing issues between my folks and me. What should I do?